What is the worst game in your favorite video game franchise? And for those of you that do not know, my personal favorite franchise is, of course, Streets of Rage, which is exactly where the play on words for the channel comes from. And today we are going to be talking about, in my opinion, the worst game in that franchise, which is Streets of Rage 3.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
So let's just dive right into the meat and potatoes as to why this one was the worst game in the franchise. Mr. X, is he dead or is he alive? I don't know. You want to know why? Because when you beat it with the good ending, you see a brain in a jar that they're saying it's Mr. X's brain, and it's like talking to him, right? But then, just wait. On the alternate endings, which are, I guess you could say, the bad or slash alternate endings, you see a guy sitting in a chair grabbing what looks to be like a glass of wine, and then he grabs it until it shatters. At which point, it makes you believe, is that Mr. X? Or is it another guy that was supposed to replace Mr. X? I don't know. But nonetheless, it just kind of left you more confused than anything.
I'm so confused.
And again, talking about the 4 endings, why do we need 4 endings? Can't we just have a good ending and a bad ending? To me, that makes the most sense. But I get it. I mean, coming off the heels of Streets of Rage 2, they probably felt that they had to accommodate and make a bunch of different features to just kind of catapult 3 to the stratosphere they thought it was gonna go. But as we all know, that was not the reception it got. And again, very quickly, I know I probably should have dubbed this in the beginning, but have you ever heard of a movie or TV show or even a video game where somebody said they did too much? That is exactly what they did with Streets of Rage 3. So let's talk about the Blitz attack. So me personally, I felt it was a distraction because you were more focused on gaining the stars that you could acquire that would be below your health bar, which you would get one for every 40,000 points that you would accumulate. And I have to kind of correct myself here because in the Super Retro Force video, I said it was every time you beat a level. That just was when I noticed it, but it is every 40,000 points you do get a star. I felt like it was a distraction though, because if you died, you lost one, and when you're trying to focus on your combos and stuff like that, it can kind of put a hamper on things as to how you execute your attacks properly. Not to mention, there's also a run function, so if you hit left, left, or right, right, and don't hit that attack button quick enough, your guy's gonna take off running and you might miss your attacks. So for me, again, I just thought it was poor execution. Now granted, do I have a problem with it? Not really, but I have seen people who aren't really acclimated to beat 'em ups struggle when they have tried to play Streets of Rage 3. Another aspect that I just personally didn't like was I felt like there was like some forced sequences based off of some of the new moves that they implemented in the game, such as there's a spot where there's a train and you're fighting ninjas and you have to hit like up to go into like these little holes so that way you don't get hit by the train. I mean, I get it. You know, you want to try to show people how to use the features and stuff like that, but I felt like you didn't need a section like that. But again, that's just my take. Another one was towards the end of the game where you have to go through a series of doors and you have to run, because if you don't, you're gonna end up running out of time. Well, at least chances are anyways, you're gonna run out of time. This next one I might get a little grief or hate for, but you know, hey, it's my take, okay? So you don't gotta agree with me. The graphics, in my opinion, I just wasn't really a fan of them, and I understand like they were trying to make things more updated, and I felt like they kind of made them look a little more dark and try to like darken them up and make them more real looking. And in my opinion, in some of the characters, it just made them look like absolute dog shit. And one in particular was Electra. They went like backwards as far as like how her moveset was. She did the thing where how in Streets of Rage 1, if you punched her, she would like drop to the ground and then you couldn't hit her. But not only was that part annoying, but why did they make her look like this weird hybrid of Cousin It off the Addams Family and Freddy Krueger with like this flannel thing going on? Like, I didn't know what the hell they were trying to do with that character, but it was just so bizarre to me and it just made no sense. I'm not saying that she had to stay looking like an S&M character like she did in Streets of Rage 2, but I don't know what the hell they were trying to do going with that.
But wait! There's more!
Whew. Next up is the music. God, was it terrible.
You bastard!
Overall, the music in this one to me was just utter shit in comparison to how Streets of Rage 2 was. Even the music on Streets of Rage 1 to me was better than Streets of Rage 3.
Got him!
I don't know, just for me, the sounds they used were just very harsh sounding, and it just didn't blend well. Like, there was a couple decent ones, I'm not gonna lie, but overall, I just felt like the songs just were not well put together and just sounded, I don't want to say forced, but maybe they were just trying to do something what they felt was new, and to me it just didn't resonate, and it just took away from the experience, and I just found it to be rather annoying versus me actually enjoying it while I was playing the game.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
All right, next up is, it's not really a me thing, but it was something that I did actually hear from a lot of people, which was the severe difficulty, I guess, from going from 2 to 3. I could kind of empathize with, because I did feel like when I played 3, I did have a little bit of a hard time trying to navigate through it the first time I was trying to go through and beat it all the way. But there was people I knew that were decent at beat 'em ups, but couldn't get through this even on the normal difficulty. And then last but not least, we have the slew of characters that you can choose from. You got one new character, and that idiot Dr. Zan, that who gives a shit about some random guy named Dr. Zan? I was hoping to play as Adam again, but no, I get this asshole named Dr. Zan. And then outside of that, you got two secret characters in Shiva and Rue, which Shiva, I am cool with that. That I thought was a really good take. However, again, you're adding all these secret elements and stuff. So you get Rue and Shiva. And then Rue you can get by beating up the little jester guy with the whip. As long as you beat him up without killing Rue, you can be Rue. However, keep in mind, you have to die in order to play as them. But what if you don't want to have to die to play as them? But then also, you did have another character in Bare Knuckle 3, which is the Japanese version. You can play as Ash. So those are my reasons why I felt that Streets of Rage 3 was the worst in the franchise. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and then I'll be seeing you in the next video.
Super Retro Force.